Spot the difference.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got a comparison video today. I haven't done one of these in a long while, but I saw that Aldi was selling this stuff. Anti-Establishment IPA. Now, everyone knows it's a rip-off of that, basically. It's basically a canned version of what they want to pass off as Punk IPA. Now the colours are pretty similar. The name Anti-Establishment and Punk, you know, the two go hand in hand. So they're basically trying to pass this off as being a clone of the Punk IPA. Now you can get a lot of homebrew kits that will do Punk IPA for a home brewing market. Will it taste like Punk IPA? No, of course it won't. It will be as near as damn it, but it won't be as good as Punk IPA. Punk IPA is, of course, is brewed in a huge brew. It's almost macro brewed. It's so widespread at the moment, and of course you've got to remember, this is legendary, this stuff. Now, you can say what you want about Brewdog, you can call them what you want, you can slag off their business ethics, and to be honest, I'm not really keen on their business ethics either. But having said that, this is where it all started in the United Kingdom. The two fingers up at the macro brewers was this, and it was aptly named as Punk IPA. I think it was 2009 or 2010. Can't remember, one or two. But it was, when it came along, it basically said, you know what, we're fed up with all your macro brewed crap. We want beer that tastes different. Brewdog started doing it, and of course they've gone from strength to strength. Now they're very popular indeed, and you know, I do see a lot of beer reviewers slagging off Brewdog. The little Welsh fella, I've seen him going into meltdowns about stuff that Brewdog do, justifiably so. I'm not knocking him, he's right. They sometimes do get a bit big for their boots and think they'll just brew any old shit and people will buy it. And to be honest, some of their stuff is pretty fucking average. That's a fact. I think so, and a lot of other people do as well. But occasionally they will come up with some really fucking good beer. Case in point being this one. This collaboration that they did with Cloudwater was amazing. It was a New England IPA, but it tasted fantastic. And they've done other collaborations as well. Some good, some not so good. But they know what they're doing, and they're very successful. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they are. So, Aldi have decided to jump on the back of that, and they've come up with this Anti-Establishment IPA. Now, there's rumours that Brewdog have come up with a Aldi or Aldi IPA, as they call it, which I'm going to try and get hold of and see what that tastes like. But I don't know whether they've taken them at call or whether they'd sued them. Would you get away with that? I mean, everyone who's a beer drinker knows what that is or what it's trying to mimic. But whether it would stand up in a court of law, who knows? Obviously, Aldi have got some really good legal people, so they probably run that past them, and you know, they said on the face of it, if you gave that to somebody who didn't know about beer, they wouldn't connect the two. But of course, I'm not saying we're better than anyone, but we know beer, and we know that's where that has come from, the inspiration for that's come. So today is going to be a comparison video. This was, I think it was £1.25. This came in a multi-pack. This is a leftover from the wedding, and I'm going to compare the two, and I'm going to see whether it's worthy, whether it's worth buying, and whether it's a good beer. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this was £1.25. So if it's a good beer, then it's a good beer. You know, you can't argue with that. And £1.25 is not a bad price. So let's stop gassing. Let's see what these are. Right, I'm just going to compare what we've got. Right, so this is an IPA, this is an IPA, this is 5.6%, this is 5.6%, this is a 330ml can, this is a 330ml can, this is blue, that's blue. This is contract brewed by someone who knows. I really should have researched a little bit about this. Anti-Establishment IPA is a genre-defining craft beer. Anti-Establishment beer is a genre-defining beer. Fuck me, that is a bold claim. This could potentially say it. This has just appeared, so it's not genre-defined. A classic gold pour delivers a burst of New World hops that create a cacophony of flavour. A hit of caramel gives way to giant tropical waves, while the exotic undertone dissolves with a biting bitter finish. Right, okay. So they've called it an Indian Pale Ale. Indian Pale Ale. Fuck. Is that what it says? Am I fucking serious? Indian Pale Ale. Really? Drink responsibly, know your limits. Yeah, how about you fuck off? Yeah, don't drink if you're pregnant. Okay, I'll bear that in mind next time I'm pregnant. I'll give it up. Yeah, you know, it's an IPA and they put malt on the front of the can. And well, I suppose, you know, if it's British IPA, then fair enough. But it's not. It's American IPA because you've got an American flag there, or a pseudo-American flag there, and they're putting malt on the front. Yeah, it's just fucking nonsense. Of course, this doesn't need an introduction. Postmodern classic. The beer that started it all. And that's right, you know, and they've got it in big letters. And I don't care who you are, what you drink, what you think about Brewdog, the beer that started it all. They started the craft brewing revolution in the United Kingdom, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, get over it. I don't like Brewdog. I'm not a massive fan, but you got to take your hat off to what they've achieved. You know, all these little craft brewers coming out now, all of them, they've been influenced by Brewdog. I don't care who they are, you know, what they say. They've either been influenced or been influenced by people who have been influenced by Brewdog, and you have to take your hat off to them as well for shitting the life out of people like AB InBev, Carlsberg, Heineken, etc. The craft beer market is a threat to these big brewers, and I love it because I'm all for the little man. 5 foot and a fag packet, that's me. I'm all for the little man. Anyway, let's stop talking bollocks and let's get these into the glasses. Right, Punk IPA first. I'll put that in the Rastal glass, just so as me and my shitty memory doesn't get confused. And there it is. It's a 440ml glass, so that's going to hold all that. Put that down there. Right. Anti-Establishment IPA, £1.25. Now, what's his face? The little Welsh fella from Real Ale Craft Beer. He compared the two, but he compared one from his Krupp, or the Brewdog IPA. He compared it from his Krupp pump job thing. Is that even a thing? I haven't got one. I don't believe in it. If you're going to drink it out of the can. Right. So I think that was probably giving Punk IPA a little bit of an edge. I'm just going to pair the two out of the can, which I think is how it should be done. Now, immediately, you can see the difference between the two. This has got a ton of carbonation. It's an amber colour, and it's been filtered to within an inch of its life. This has not been filtered too much. Very little carbonation compared to that. Look at the carbonation on that. Let's go for the aroma first. Insipid. Astringent caramel, and I get this from a lot of the stuff that comes from these Aldi and Lidl, but it's very weak aromas, and you got a little hint of citrus on there, touch of astringent malt, and that's about it. out of this. Yeah, lovely, creamy fruit, sweet fruit, really nice sweet fruit, like orange, pineapple and grapefruit. Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I've drunk this loads of times. You know, it's almost becoming very, very widespread. Where I work, there's a bar just round the corner, and if Punk IPA is on, it's quite a good session beer, to be honest. This stuff, it just hasn't got anything that's got. All right, okay, I could be completely wrong here, so let's stop guessing. Let's get this tasted. Okay, so here we go. Anti-Establishment IPA from Aldi. It's not the worst beer I've tasted. There's not much flavour there at all. There was a hint of citrus. There is, so it's like cheap malt. It tastes like cheap malt. And there is quite a nasty aroma when I put my nose right up to it. I don't know if this is my imagination, but it almost smells like, you know, I don't know, what is it? It's like cheap malt. It's malt that's been burnt. I know malt is roasted and all that, but it just tastes like old malt. And if you've got some sort of infection, or it's just the dregs, the stuff that's gone out of date, or it really doesn't smell good. It's almost like a fishy type smell to it. That's what I'm getting. You know, it smells like, you know, fresh fish. That's what it. And it's not the glass. I know it's not the glass for a fact. Let's have another go. You've got caramel malt on the end of it, but not very good quality caramel malt. And it's just there's no aftertaste to it at all. It's just a little bit of caramel malt, the barest hint of citrus, and that's about it. Let's try the Punk IPA, how that compares. And immediately, you can just taste the quality. Now, admittedly, this is a little bit more expensive than this, but that really does shine through in the taste, because this just smells good and it tastes good. Nice little bit of grapefruit bitterness. There's some orange and mango on that. Touch of biscuit, malt, and the aftertaste isn't massive, but that wasn't meant to be. It's a 5.6 beer, and I've sessioned this before, and yeah, you do pay for it the next day. It's 5.6%, so it does, you know, give you a bit of an hangover if you do cane it. But this stuff, I mean, you've only got to compare the two. This has been filtered, and when you filter beer, you filter out flavour. And look at the carbonation on that. It's fucking going for it. That has calmed right down, and that translates to the mouthfeel as well. But this a fishy aroma. It's like honestly, I'm getting the. You know, when you walk into a fishmonger's, that's what it fucking smells like. It's fucking nasty. You don't get that in the flavour. But do you know what? It just tastes like all them cheap contract brewed craft beers that Aldi do. And they're not good. And I don't know why they persist. Well, I do know why they persist in it. But people think they're getting decent beer for cheap, on the cheap. And it isn't the case. Now, as soon as I pull this up to my nose, I'm getting sweet aromas, sweet fruit aromas. Peach, peach, mango, passion fruit. That's the first things, from there. And it smells quite nice. Yeah, it's really good. Punk IPA, for all its, for all of Brewdog's faults, Punk IPA is a nice session beer. Now, I have done it in the past, and at the wedding I was drinking a couple of cans of this. Very nice indeed. Nice cold, very refreshing. Not too massive on the flavours, but I'll tell you something, compared to this, it just bowls it out of the park. The more I drink this, the more I dislike it. That aroma. And now, it smells like cat food. That's what it is. That's what I'm getting. It's not fish. It's like fishy cat food. That's what it smells like. And do you know what? It's not fucking good. No, but it's typical of what Aldi and Lidl do. If you wanna really get good quality cheap beer from Aldi and Lidl, go for their craft brew range that they get in from the actual craft brewers, and they sell them cheap. Aldi do a lot of stuff from the Williams brothers, and occasionally they get some others in as well. Lidl do some fantastic stuff. If you've not, you're probably going to miss it now if I put this video up. Probably it will be at some point in late August, but they done their beer festival. I think it lasted 2 weeks, but the beers there were absolutely brilliant. Really good value for money. And do you know what? They were from proper, quite good quality craft brewers, and they weren't too much more expensive than this. And they came in 4 40ml cans. And yeah, don't bother. Do not bother. If you really want to drink Punk IPA, pay for Punk IPA. Don't pay for this, because what you're getting is a cheap and nasty contract brewed, cut price beer. I wouldn't class it as an IPA. It just doesn't taste good. Not good at all. Just pay your money. If you really want to drink Punk IPA, this is what I'm saying. You can go to the supermarkets. They have it on special offer every now and again. I know Morrison's do and all that. But if you think you're going to go to Aldi's and you think you're going to pick up an exact clone of Punk IPA with this anti-establishment crap for £1.25, it ain't going to happen. This stuff is fucking savage, and it could be anything. I'm sure they must have rebadged this, latched onto it. Yeah, they'll fool someone once, but I'll never buy that again. Will I buy Punk IPA? Yeah, I will. I don't mind. It's not a bad beer. As I say, I keep saying it, for all of Brewdog's faults, this is not a bad beer, and it's legendary because it started it all off. It knocks Goose Island and all them other shit fucking beers out. Shipyard, Goose Island and all that. If you want a reasonable IPA, American style IPA or American style pale ale, they call it an IPA. I think it's more of a pale ale now, but when it first came out, this was a legendary drink, and it always will be. It started it all off. So yeah, buy, avoid. So what is it? Was it? This is the pressure drop. Shag, marry, avoid. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.
And subscribe. Well, the puppy gets it. Isn't that right, Purse? Yeah, get off.